Hello, Destiny and Hillary and woo, lots of yes. You have to show this. This is so great to have up as everyone's coming in. I love that that you had ChatGPT do this. Oh,
Yeah, let me just open up the chat window here as well so that I can read.
yes,
Okay, please
hello,
share your
Julie,
name.
and yeah, hi, Matt, Peggy Sue. Hello, hi, Robin, Shelby, Sophia. Pretty soon, this is going to be so many. I won't be able to call
Yeah.
everyone out, so I'm trying to get as many names in as I can. Thank you, thank you. I wonder, is that my girl Hillary that I met at CMX? If it is, hello, hello. And if not, hello, new Hillary. Lots more people still
So
coming.
we'll just wait for just 1 minute and then we're gonna start. But yeah, in the meantime, please check out this short poem written by ChatGPT and let me know how you feel about it. What do you think? Do you like it?
British, if I remember you saying correctly yesterday, if I'm remembering this correctly, you said that you used Chat GPT and you asked it to write a poem about community. Was that right? Was that the
Yeah,
prompt? The prompt?
the prompt was write a short poem on Valentine's Day, but have a community theme into it.
I feel like a good game would be to show a whole bunch of Chat GPT responses and people have to guess what the prompt was.
Yeah, yeah. And there is a whole I recently discovered there is a whole community around prompt, not about just text as well. Like there is images, what kind of prompt you need to, and people are selling prompts, you know?
Yeah, my friend Scott Wilder showed me a book he had ordered of just a whole bunch of prompts that like 100 prompts or something, and
Yeah,
someone self-published a book on it. They're making money off of a book of prompts. It's
totally. Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Hope this helps us get into the spirit of Valentine's Day today. Courtesy ChatGPT.
I'm very much in the state. I hope everyone joining is too.
Cool. I believe we should get started now.
All right.
So I'm just gonna go to the next slide. So as you all know, today's topic is how communities so love to community members, and we have, of course, Jenny joining us as the expert speaker. Uh, I'm gonna do a proper introduction further down the slides. We'll just quickly run through the introductions. I know people are excited to learn more from Jenny. Same for me as well. And then after the intro, we're gonna do the presentation by Jenny, and then we'll have a 25 minutes Q&A session. And at the end, I'm gonna talk about the upcoming webinar that we have for March. So pretty simple, and a couple of things that we need to consider. Please, you're most welcome to ask us questions and use the Q&A tool that Zoom has to post your questions. And please do chat. And we are all here to learn and grow. So please be kind to everyone. And there will be recording that will be posted on Bettermore community that I'll share in some time. And Jenny has kindly agreed to share the deck as well, and that will be also posted when we share the recording. And so those who are joining us for the first time, we are Bettermore. Bettermore was previously known as Thrive. Back in December, we rebranded to Bettermore. So what Bettermore does is we bring together different customer engagement tools into one platform. So discussion forums, ideation, help center, Q&A, events, resources, all these into one platform so that you can streamline your customer experiences and build stronger customer relationships. And while we're helping our customers build their own community, we're also building a Bettermore community, which you can access from bettermore.com/hub. If you're not a customer, you can still access all the recordings, books, guides that we post in the Get Inspired space. And if you're a customer, please do join the community. We're always happy to have you in the community and interact. And today our guest is Jenny Weigle. She's the founder of Jenny.Community Consulting. She has more than 10 years of experience working on different aspects of community, right from implementation strategy to planning and programming. She has worked with some of the well-known brands such as Google, Sephora, Samsung, Visa, We are most honored to have Jenny to lead the webinar today. And now it's time to pass on the mic to Jenny. But I know that she is a big fan of Star Wars, so I have something to send positive vibes to Jenny. So take it away.
Yes. Oh, I love it. What a way to start off a session. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Preetish, and happy Valentine's Day. And I'm here in the States. This is a big day for the chocolates and the flowers and showing love. So how fitting that we're going to use this time to talk about how communities show love to their members. All right, let me get my slides up and everything. I want to preface my presentation saying I'm using Canva Presents for the first time. I'd be curious if any of you have used that. Let me know in the chat. Let me know if you like it or have run into issues with it or, whatever. So because of that, not really sure how it will go. I've got some printed notes. Hopefully my notes will show in a presenter view. I'm not really sure. So we'll see. If you see me looking all over the place, I'm just trying to get used to Canva. All right. And let me share my screen here.
And I'm going to turn up my video as well so that people can listen to it clearly.
Thanks, British. Okay. Let me get into presenter view. Full screen. Come on. Oh my gosh. Why is this not working? All right. Maybe I'll go into...
Click on present on the button maybe. Should we scroll down a little bit?
Scroll down a little bit.
Yeah. You see that?
Oh, there it is. It was hiding from my Zoom chat box. Sorry about that, folks. All right. Let me make sure I keep the chat up so I can see what wonderful people are saying. All right. So, how communities show love to members. Thank you for being here this morning. I really, really appreciate that. And yeah, we're going to be talking about how our community is showing love today in all kinds of different ways. Essentially, though, what this boils down to is actually even simpler question. And in my mind, that's how do you reward and recognize and incentivize your members? And this is the core of what we're going to be getting into today. I'd love to hear from our attendees here. All right, if we're talking about a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is being the best, 1 is being not so great. I want to know, how would you rate your efforts in your community today on rewarding, recognizing, and incentivizing your members? And go ahead and throw a number into the chat between 1 and 10. Go ahead and rate yourself. And don't be afraid to be proud of yourself too. And if you've got some improvements to make, well, hopefully that's why everyone's here. Get inspired by some ideas. Thank you, Julie, saying 4. Jan says 4. Hillary, 1 right now. We got nowhere to go but up then, right, Hillary? Yeah. Nice. Thank you all. And Destiny says 3. Troy probably 4. And Kristen at a 6. Nice. This is so great to hear. I'm glad to hear that people feel that they're at different stages in this 1 to 10, this very formal rating we've got going on here. But thank you for that. And if you haven't yet chimed in, please feel free. And yeah, that's really good to know as a baseline for starting here, because now we're also going to talk about not only different ways communities show love, but we're also going to talk about how your members prefer to be rewarded, recognized, or incentivized. So I say prefer because a lot of times, I meet with community professionals and they've never asked, and there's nothing wrong with that because goodness, there's so many things that community managers and professionals have on their plates today, right? So many things going on that if you forget to ask how people want to be rewarded, I don't blame you. I mean, yeah, like I said, there's a lot happening. But one of the things I want to start off saying that is a little bit different from, I think, any other gamification or rewards type of webinar you might have heard is that I recently read about an amazing tactic called the celebration survey. And so, and say something in the chat if you've already heard about this. But I want to start this session off this way because, like I said, it's something I just found out about. And maybe you've called it something else. But essentially, this is a survey out to your community members to ask them what they like, what their preferences are, what motivates them. And then you use that information for rewards, for gifts, for incentives, for recognitions, for surprise and delights. And I love the idea of this, of formalizing it as and even naming it a celebration survey. And I saw that it's like a TikTok thing that came across my feed, and the person talking about it was referencing how they send this to employees. And then I thought, wait, but this can absolutely be done with our community members as well, because this is helpful for a number of reasons. First off, not everyone wants a Starbucks gift card because not everyone drinks coffee. And people who do drink coffee, not everybody likes Starbucks. But you know what? Starbucks has made it really easy for us to use gift cards as a giveaway, because you can send them through email. You can send them, I think, through text. It's just very easy and efficient for community professionals to just, whip up a Starbucks gift card. But that might not really appeal or mean something to the person you're sending it to. And when we're showing love to our members, I want to encourage you all to use this time to learn about ways that really do mean something to your members. And so I think a celebration survey is a great way to do that. Another thing you can do in a celebration survey is ask about any personal goals or aspirations or milestones that people are looking to achieve. And some popular milestones in life are, perhaps getting married, and getting a promotion, having a child, having a second or more children. But not everyone is going to necessarily make those decisions, like marriage and having children. And yet there's still important milestones going on in their life. So you want to make sure that you're helping to celebrate those too, if that's something you're doing in your community, helping people celebrate their milestones. So maybe ask, some of the example questions on these surveys are things like, if you had a day off, how would you spend it? If you could buy anything for $20, what would it be? If you could buy anything for $1,000, what would it be? What's your favorite restaurant? And if you stay tuned to the end of this webinar today, you're going to find a helpful little something that will give you more on the celebration survey. I'm not going to give it away just yet. Just you want to stay tuned. The last thing I want to say about the celebration survey here is that if people don't want to fill it out, please respect that as well, because you are asking for something that's probably a little more on the personal side in these. And hopefully people feel safe enough to share this, but if not, that's fine. And yes, then you do kind of have to take a guess at what you might be rewarding them with, but at least you've also just given them the option of filling it out. And I think that's a really considerate move to do if you're going to release a celebration survey. Funny enough, I did a Google search on celebration surveys to see what might be out there. I really only found like one template, and it's a company that doesn't have anything to do with community. I think they've got like HR templates. Let me show you real quick. Yeah, so you're going to get this link when the deck gets sent out. But this company, Weigle, has an example celebration survey. So I thought that was really, really cool. And but again, stay tuned for another type of example. All right, let me get back into presenter mode here. All right, so moving on. Now, what are the most popular ways members are shown love today? And I'll bet you all could probably guess, because a number of these ways that I'm going to go over relate to gamification. If you don't know what gamification is, it's essentially using game methods to reward people in our online communities. When I say game methods, you might not know that many of the tactics that I'm going to go over now and that are used in online communities today and built into platforms, they stemmed from game design. And if you want to know a lot more about this, I suggest checking out this book by author Amy Jo Kim called Game Thinking. I haven't read it. It's on my to-read list, but I hear wonderful things about it. And I heard it talked about on an episode of the Community Signal podcast. So yeah, check that out. It's called Game Thinking by Amy Jo Kim. And it's been an inspiration for a lot of online communities and a lot of online community platforms. So yes, very much worth looking. And I really need to catch up on my to-read list. We're already in February. I've got a lot of reading I need to do this year. So the first tactic I want to talk about is badges. And essentially, I think everyone knows about badges, but in case you don't know, these are usually some kind of a digital image or asset that gets rewarded for how many times you have participated on a community, maybe how many times you've liked something, how many times you've logged in, how many times you've replied. Badges can be set up for a number of different reasons. Let me know in the chat if you're using badges today. I'd love to know who's kind of taking advantage of this, because most of the community platforms have this today. I know Better Mode does. And what I've also seen happen on a lot of these platforms is you've got those automatic badges going out. And then usually you can set up manual badges too. So if somebody shows up to, an annual conference, you might want to give them a badge and reward them for that. So Heather, yes, she's familiar with these badges for community. Hi, Heather. How you doing? And Sylvia's got a badge, but more variety. Oh, Sylvia. Yes, more variety is the key. In fact, Sylvia and everyone, you want to know what the number one mistake I see with badges is? And I don't know if anyone wants to take a guess. The number one mistake I usually see that people are making with badges. And see, and while if anyone wants to take a guess, we'll see. Rosie also mentions that she does top exec awards. Nice, very, very nice. No guesses? Everyone on their edge of their seats here? The number one mistake I see with badges is that the community professional or professionals running the team are usually forgetful to keep adding new badges over time. Although, Andy, that was a good guess. Too vague, generic. That absolutely can be a problem too, because if they are too vague and generic, no one is going to want to earn them, right? But I'd say the biggest issue that I have frustration with is that when people forget to add. So you launch your community, you might launch with like 10 badges. A few months later, as soon as like 3 months later, you should launch more and create more badges and continually keep creating badges, because if not, your badges are going to be attained and completed, and people are going to have little motivation to come and earn more. Now, I don't have any data to show you right now if badges are actually successful. I have real world experience with my clients over many years, but it's interesting because I was trying to find some data and I couldn't. All I know is that badges cater to a certain kind of audience that is found in every community. And sometimes that audience is bigger than others, but there's a group of people who will join your community and they see badges and they want to earn as many as possible. And especially if you're showing the ways they can earn, if it says like, the 10 comment badge or the 10 question badge or something like that, if people know exactly how to earn those things, there are people out there who will want to go out and do that. And so badges can be very motivating for that particular group of people. And so let's look at an example of some badges here. Let's see some of my favorite badges. So I'm going to the StubHub community. And again, the URL for this is going to be in the deck notes when you get this after the presentation. And I love StubHub's community. I mean, I helped to launch it, so yes, I'm a little bit biased, but their titles and their badges themselves are very cute and inventive and detailed. In fact, so detailed that, even looking at it from this view and how I have my screen set up, it's hard to read a couple of them. So that's something to keep in mind for when you're creating your badges. So I think they're cute and inventive, but some of them might have even maybe too much going on. So yeah, try to keep the badges as simple as possible, but it makes them nice and different, right? So they've got these badges that also have different numbers on them, which correspond to, the numeric badge that they're getting for, maybe this one is for starting conversations, so kicking off posts and so forth. I love this for kind of a birds of a feather title as well as the badge itself. And notice how with this bird one, as the person keeps earning more little birds start to show up on the badge. Oh, that's detailed. That's some detailed badge creation there. So I would really encourage you to work with, a graphic designer at your company or one that you hire if you want to get super creative. So I think that StubHub did a great job with these, and they're fun to attain too, fun to achieve. But that's not all. Let's look at, hold on, let me bring this down so I can actually see. All right. Okay. So another great tactic when it comes to badges is make sure that you are announcing your badges when new ones come out, or else people might not realize that they're out. So I love how Danny Pankratz did this in the Uncork community, and he released some yearly badges. So what does that mean? It's some badges that are covering a period of an entire year, or he's got some for 2023 coming up here. And you might have badges that cover what people achieve in a week or a month, or just all time, or maybe in a specific year. But no matter what you're doing, if you're communicating, or if you're issuing new badges, communicate that and let people know. And even if you're just launching your community for the first time, let people know about badges, give them a little bit of an overview, help them understand, why it might be fun and important to attain them. I have clients that use their badge reports to give out other rewards or to tap certain people for beta programs and so forth, because the badges can be a nice indicator of who is the most active. So let's see. We've got a question from Ryan. If you keep adding badges, does it get frustrating for members because you keep moving the finish line? Very, very nice question there. It could, and it also might not, because I think in a lot of communities, I think it's somewhat expected that people will keep adding badges, that you're never quite done with the badges. There's always going to be new opportunities to learn. But Ryan brings up a good point. And what I would encourage you to do is talk to your community members about, do they want more badges? Do they want more ways to keep achieving the badge status? Do they want higher quantities of badges, or do they want brand new badges to earn? So Ryan brings up an excellent point. And the best thing I think in that is maybe poll your community or talk to some of your super users and make sure that the interest is there if you want to keep on adding badges. All right. Okay, enough about badges. Let's move on to kind of our next tactic and way that I'm seeing people show love. That is with what I'm calling status. And by status, I'm kind of lumping a lot of different things in here, because status could be a visual indicator on someone's profile. It could be a rank someone holds. It could be a title. It could be an invitation into a special program that is exclusive to certain members of the community. So I'm going to kind of cover all of that with status here. But usually with status, it must be earned. And so people might have one status on day one for being new to a community, and by their 100th day, depending on how much they've done, maybe they have a different status. And a neat thing about status is that it can be used to unlock certain privileges, which could be privileges such as functionality in the community, or the ability to get like off-platform benefits. Maybe it's like one-on-one time with an executive, or some benefits for a customer conference that's in person. So there are some ways to, give out those benefits both on and off platform. So a couple of the examples I have for you here in as far as status. First, we're going to go to the Zapier community. And I want to point out to you, as I'm going to be scrolling through this particular forum in the Zapier community, how next to people's usernames, there's some kind of a title. And so I'm not sure if this is just titles or if it's ranks, or it could be a combination of both. Again, it depends on the platforms that people are using and what the capability is there. But you see how this first post indicates that this was done by someone who's on the Zapier staff. The next one is from a community manager. The next person has their status is new. So to me, that might indicate some kind of a rank system. And if this person keeps on posting, maybe that status will change to something different. We've got another new, and even here we've got beginner. So is beginner before or after new? If you are going to implement a rank system, I definitely recommend that you have some post living on the community somewhere that states what all of the different levels are, so that people know exactly, where they want to aspire to go, right? What's the top levels and so forth. But don't reveal the criteria. That takes away a lot of the fun. Let's look at another community. This is Microsoft Power BI. And within their forums here, I've pulled up a specific thread I want to share with you. We have an avatar for this user, the blue circle. We have a username, Holguin Mora. We have a rank level of Helper 1. And then we've got this icon that's to the right of the user. And this is what I know some platforms might call a rank icon. What's really unique about the Microsoft Power BI community is that we can see that this icon is kind of a progression. And with just the first bar being filled in, that is immediately telling me, I have a visual representation that this user probably new to the community, right? But if this user had almost all of the bars filled in, then I would know that I'm reading something from somebody who has, earned their credibility in this and probably been posting a lot, or whatever it takes to, earn those bars. So I have to do some deeper digging into the Microsoft community to find out what does it take to keep earning those bars? What happens when you get to the top bar? But still, I think it's a real nice, again, visual indicator. So I'm getting a lot out of just looking at this one section to know about this person and about the information. Yeah. And let's go to my final example on status. And this example is from the Alteryx community. And in their Getting Started and Community Resources section, they have an FAQ about user ranks. Remember how I said I think it's a good practice to list the user ranks? Well, they've done just that. So these are all the different ranks you can attain, and they are pointing out where your journey starts and what the highest achievement is possible. I also just really like the tone of voice here, where a popular question that you'll probably be asked from your community members is, well, what's the criteria for each rank? And, Alteryx is saying it wouldn't be nearly as fun if we told you. And that's the truth. But also, if you did tell your members, they would game it. Trust me, there's going to be that audience, probably the same audience that loves badges, that are going to try to game it, earn the top rank, and then they won't come back and be as active. So that's one of the benefits of having some sort of a status. But I've shown you so far some things around titles and visual indicators. I also mentioned that status can be programs as well. Let's look at a couple different programs that are indicate status. Sephora has an ambassador program that is invite only for some of their most active community members. So talk about status. When you become an ambassador, you get, I think, like a special, again, icon and so forth. You get special privileges. So quite the honor to be invited into the program, but it does come with expectations. And so we're not going to go into all the details of that, but that's pretty typical of an ambassador program. If a brand is going to invite you in, there's usually some expectations they're asking you to uphold, like keep up your level of activity and help others and things like that. There's also the Alexa Champions program. So to be invited into this, you need to be one of Alexa's top developers. And then they've got like their own group, their own community here. So that is quite a level of status that people in this audience might be wanting to achieve. And then another example of a status program is Canva's Verified Experts. You know what's neat about Canva? They have a number of different communities. They're heavy on community, and I love that. But if you want to be in this program, you have to have been super active in some of their other communities and fulfill other criteria and either apply or be invited. I forget. But yeah, I think they do a great job with a program like this that, again, people can use to show off their status. All right, let me check the chat. Just want to see if there's any. All right, no questions? Okay, let's keep moving on here with all the different ways people show love. All right, so that was status. And next, let's talk about, programs. I thought I had all that in one. All right, I'm way more on top of it than I thought I was. Next one is leaderboards and points. This one is all together. Leaderboards, again, usually some kind of visual representation of who's on top in some capacity, like who's got the most posts, who's got the most helpful answers, who's got the most likes, things like that. And usually you can kind of change up those criteria, what makes up a leaderboard. And usually you can also change the time frame. Do you want to show a leaderboard that's just for the last week, maybe for the last month? Do you want your leaderboard to be for all time? At this point, again, I wish I had data to show you how effective leaderboards are. I only have my real world experience, but I can tell you that there are people who, again, like badges and like ranks, love to move up a leaderboard and will go in a community and be active so that they can move up a leaderboard. And people like to see their name and avatar on the top of a list. What can I say? All right. I see some questions coming. Oh, Andy had to leave. Thank you for joining, Andy. And yes, as Preetish is mentioning, if you've got questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A and we'll address them at the end. So people use all kinds of criteria to fill the leaderboards. Sometimes it's points. Most commonly, I think I see it's based off like, again, number of posts you've made or number of helpful answers you've provided, things like that. But let's jump into some examples. I'm not so great at this back and forth here. Sorry. All right. First example is from a Better Mode community called the ConvertKit Creator Community. I'm on their homepage and I can see right away on the right-hand side, they have a leaderboard. They call theirs the most reputable users. So that's super interesting and quite an honor, right? Because look at that. I mean, April Ann is their most reputable user for this month. And let's see who it is for the week. Oh, April Ann again. But what I don't know by looking at this is what do they mean by most reputable user? Now, I'm not a member of this community. I'm not signed in. So maybe that information is more clear to me when I sign in because I'd like to know, well, what made April Ann? What's the criteria behind that? And some communities share that and some don't. Again, it kind of all depends on how you want to share that information. Do you want it made public? Do you want it just amongst your members? And I like the ability here to, again, to change kind of for different time frames. Ooh, all time is Haley C. So April Ann's got some work to do. Let me see if we've got a question. All right. Next example is a company called Emotion Page. And once again, on the right-hand side, I see a leaderboard. And they've decided to title theirs just Leaderboard. We have a tooltip here, which is telling me a little bit more about this leaderboard. And this one is saying scores are calculated based on the number of posts, replies, and reactions. Okay, so there's some kind of combination of those things going on. So that's super helpful. And again, I think it's really up to the community professional to decide, do you want to reveal that information like a tooltip like that? And once again, we have the ability to look and decide between if we want to see the all-time leaderboard, the leader for the month, or the leader for the last week. And I really like this too, this setup, because it being able to change like that, it recognizes different people. If you just have one leaderboard up all the time, and particularly if it was just all time, if that was up and that was the only one you were showing, it's likely you're just showing the same people. And by doing it this way, you're recognizing different people who have been active in different weeks. So yeah, I really like this flexibility. All right, and that's for leaderboard and points. We do have a question. All right, Peggy Sue asks, is a leaderboard ever considered intimidating to newer members or boring if you have a few dominant members who always seem to be on top? And Peggy Sue, yes, you're touching on the point I just made. And I think it's if you set your leaderboards for a certain time frame and you are seeing all the same people all the time, maybe you might want to do a couple things. Maybe see if you can change the time frame so it will show a couple different people. And maybe try to, if you've got some other power users that aren't being shown, try to just encourage some other people to step up, maybe make a game out of it a little bit, a playful, friendly game to see if people can, get to the top 5 spots and dethrone some of the people who are at the top. But to your question about could a leaderboard ever be considered intimidating? Again, that's one of the things you probably want to talk to your members about and ask them. And when I used to work with the Sephora community, they did receive feedback from their members that they were not crazy about a leaderboard. I'm not going to go into all the reasons why, but what I want to emphasize there is that they talked to their community and some of their power users and just some of their regular members, they were hearing it often enough that a leaderboard was not right for them. So even though a leaderboard could be a great way to show love, it might not be right for every community. Again, you've got to talk to your community members and you got to ask them and you got to figure out what they like and what will be best for them. And that this is one example of that. Great questions. Thanks, Peggy Sue. Okay, let's continue to move on. And now we're talking about swag. Maybe this might be one of the most common ways that I've seen communities show love. And maybe you've received some swag from a community as well. Swag, it's effective on different levels to different people. Sometimes people find swag great, sometimes not. In my experience, I have found that swag is best when it's hitting 2 areas. First one is that it's something actually useful. And that, again, could mean different things to different people. What's useful to me might not be useful to you. But something useful I've received as swag, and it wasn't from a community, but it was from a brand, was just like a cell phone charger thing that I've taken to conferences before. And it's easy to, recharge my phone. And I love that thing. That is in my bag for every time I'm traveling for work. But another aspect of what I think makes effective swag is something that makes people think of the community and even better take action in the community or something very exclusive to the community. I know that my friend Pablo Gonzalez has some swag for his company, Be the Stage. It's like a bomber jacket, and he's very selective on who he gives that to. And if you take the same approach with some of your community swag, you can be creating some very coveted swag. If only 5 people have a certain jacket or piece of swag and they're posting pictures about it and it's a really neat coveted item, you're going to get people in the community talking about it. And there's going to be hype around it. So with that exclusivity, you can let people know, oh, well, these people had to post 100 times to get this or whatever the criteria is. So swag. The worst swag, in my opinion, is swag that is just junk, or it's made cheaply. But I'd love to know from all of you as well, what's good and bad swag. I have some specific questions here. All right. Using your either reaction buttons or like the emojis and so forth, I'm going to name a couple different pieces of swag, and I want to know if you give like a thumbs up or thumbs down, or you can say heck no or heck yeah if you want. I'm curious about how these pieces of swag go over. All right. First piece of swag, coffee mug. Who likes the coffee mugs? I have a coffee mug here today, but it is not swag. This was a housewarming present. Very fitting, very personalized. All right. We're getting some negative reactions to the coffee mug. Not to say that all coffee mugs are bad. Heather brings up a good point. Depends on who it is from. Also kind of depends like what's on it, right? I'm about to put some new merch on my website and a coffee mug that says, I don't manage apartments. How many of you community professionals are always confused with managing apartments? Yeah, that's going to be a coffee mug. So hopefully that will be enticing enough for y'all to get. So thanks, Laura. I'll let you know when it's up. It was inspired by Todd Nilsson, Adrian Spire, and John Summers. So, okay, cool. So I'm hearing overall, like, sounds like it depends. Not the greatest thing for coffee mugs, but kind of also depends on how cool it looks. And yeah, you're making great points. Okay, next piece of swag. How about a water bottle, or some people call it a tumbler? Water bottle or tumbler. And while you all are posting your responses, I'm going to take a little swig of water. Little bit of love, little bit of for the water bottle / tumbler. Yeah, for me, I have so many of them. I don't need them. Ooh, Heather, yes, quality is important. Yeah, I mean, if it's a very, very nice one, that's probably worth keeping. But, if I got a water bottle today, I have so many. Yeah, so again, it can depend, but it sounds like, that's one that a lot of people get. All right, I've got two more. This third one, a shirt, a cotton t-shirt. And I know I'm being very vague and not saying specifically what's on the shirt, but if a community was to give out just a regular cotton t-shirt, how would you all feel about that? I'm hearing some no's. I'm seeing some no's here. Oh, not so interested in the t-shirts. Okay, what if the t-shirt had a really cool image or phrase or something on it? Again, and that's going to be, people are going to, what's really cool to some people is going to be really different to others. Yeah. Meh, again, depends. Perhaps as a sleep shirt. Oh, that was a good one, Heather. Hillary, thank you. Hillary is referencing, I had a shirt I was giving out to CMX, and it's available on my site, and it says, do epic community shit, because that is my tagline. But also, yeah, there's a lot of shirts out there. I have a lot of shirts, and so I don't know if I'd be that jazzed about getting another t-shirt. Okay, my last one, a sticker. Stickers seem to be all the rage now. I've got some fun ones from Community Signal here. This was great. I helped to support this podcast, so I loved getting this sticker. My friend Stephanie, who's one of on the community team at Salesforce, sent me some fun stickers and her holiday card. I was like, so these mean a lot. These are cool swag. I appreciate this. So what's the deal with stickers? What is the verdict here? Some people like them. Some people, not so much. I know I have a bunch on my laptop too, Amanda. Sophia loves them. Cool. This is so cool to know. All right. Well, a couple different examples of swag, and yeah, I'm with y'all. Like these could be exciting, but it just depends, And then of course there's a lot of other great swag out there. We don't have time to go through all the swag. Previous we could have a whole nother webinar dedicated to the ups and downs of rewarding swag and examples of that. But let me wrap up so we can get to questions here. I've just got a few more slides. The last tactic I want to share with you all is surprise and delight. If you're not familiar with this one, surprise and delight is usually when you're going to give something away, not necessarily in a contest, but maybe to like a select group of community members. And it's kind of a surprise. They didn't realize they were they were going to be getting it. So a couple of cool examples for you all on this. Let me get to, oh, forgot to mention that Better Mode has like a nice article about the importance of leaderboards. If that is something you want to read more about, again, it will be linked in the deck. Oh, and I also forgot to mention about swag. Here's an awesome example of the Salesforce community selling swag. And so that's really neat because their community is known as the Trailblazers. So there's all this branded stuff for Trailblazers. But I'll tell you the one thing I don't like about this is that anyone could buy this. And I think it would be kind of a cool community perk if this was just limited to community members. I don't know. That's just an opinion. I totally respect if people have a different opinion. That's just my opinion. All right. Okay, moving on. All right, examples of surprise and delight. We're looking at right now what is called the Creators Studio community, and this is from a company called Rust-Oleum. So they actually make all kinds of different spray cans and for spray art and for different art projects and so forth. So for the 100th anniversary of the company, they created a special line of spray cans and different colors and so forth. And they gave these to mostly to employees to mark the occasion and to some clients, but there were extra. So the extra, and I don't know how many extra, but those extras were given to the community team. And then the community team decided, well, we're going to reward these to people who have been like our most active members over the years. It included some founders. It included some people who weren't founders, but again, were super active. And so they sent these commemorative spray cans to those members. And those members responded with social media pictures and then showing off the art they made with them. Some of them decided not to use the cans at all and to keep them and display them in their workshops. So, and it was very much a surprise and delight. These members did not know they were going to get this. What a nice little, thing to have to get from the community and to recognize them and to give them something that is really of quite value both sentimentally and I'm sure monetarily. And another example I want to point out is from a community called Freelance Founders. Now, if you all know Max Pete, a community extraordinaire, I call him the community life coach. He used to run this community, and he told me a story of how this community was kind of going through a bit of a pause as they were relaunching some sections of it and relaunching the website. So, there wasn't a lot happening, but he wanted to keep people happy, keep people interested and know the community was still there for them. And so he picked like 10 random members and just sent them some coffee gift certificates and just out of the blue. And he said that they were so appreciative. And I don't know how he decided on coffee because I know we were referencing that earlier, but he got a lot of great feedback and it was a great thing to do and it encouraged him to do more surprise and delight. So he continued to do things like that over time, sometimes for no reason at all. And so that's two examples of surprise and delight. And I just love those so much. Let me go ahead and finish up the presentation here, and then we will get to questions. You guys are great. Oh, okay. Well, before we get to this, I'm going to come back to this real quick. Thank you for staying, and I want to let you know that you're going to get this slide in the deck when Pritish and his team send that out afterwards, along with the recording. So if you want to create your own celebration survey to find out how your members like to be rewarded, this could be a great start. Of course, you can add more, you can edit these, but this is our little takeaway to you to show you some love and some thanks for showing up today if you want to create your own celebration survey and then use that for your members. All right. And I'm going to turn it back over now to Pritish to kind of lead us through Q&A. Pritish, I saw some questions coming up in chat. I saw them coming up in the Q&A. So I'm going to leave it to you on where we need to go.
Sure. But first of all, thank you so much for sharing insights. And props to the attendees for being so interactive in the chat. It was amazing. So we have this question from Sylvia. She's asking, could you give examples of non-merch swags for when we're not allowed to spend budget on promo material?
Sylvia, yes. Oh, with the good questions. Okay, so non-merch swags. If you have events coming up or any kind of announcements, one of the perks you could give out is people getting like first access to sign up for an event or to get some kind of announcement before everyone else. Again, you have to decide which of those might be like worth it for your members. If your company is selling anything, like selling any trainings or even any items, maybe some kind of a discount code that you can work out that only, a certain group gets, that's a perk for those trainings or for those things. If you're holding any in-person events like conferences, like customer conferences, I think a cool perk is to create a reserved seating section for community members. Doesn't cost you anything, but you got to get the word out to community members. Hey, we've got this reserved seating just for you. Or let people into certain rooms earlier, like community members into a room earlier, like for a keynote speech. If you can say community members get to come in 15 minutes earlier than everybody else, and that way they can pick their seat or so. What else? Sometimes time with executives is something else that is not necessarily merch, but very coveted as a reward. Maybe people want one-on-one time or small group time with your chief product officer because they want to get product feedback. Maybe they want it with your CEO to learn a little bit about where the direction of the company is going. Yeah, so hopefully I feel like I've got more. They're just not coming to mind right now. But hopefully that gives you some inspiration on some non-merch ideas there. All right. What else we have here? I missed some of the last chat because I was trying to get through and I want to know if people are actually going to create a celebration survey. Is that interesting to anyone? And it's fine if it's not. But when I read about it, I was kind of just all over that concept, and I think it's really, really unique.
Yeah. Okay, so there is this question. How can communities have balance between showing love and addressing negative behavior? I believe it's about moderating negative behaviors. Sorry, but at the same time also showing love. So how do you find balance between that?
Yeah. So I would guess that most of the negative behaviors you're referencing are probably coming from things they're saying or doing in their posts that are probably inappropriate or rude and probably in violation of the community guidelines. So hopefully you have a process in place to address the negative behaviors. Something I even see on some platforms, maybe it's not even just on platforms, I just see that people have built it in their community, is a way for someone to report negative behavior. If you allow someone to be able to report another post that maybe might be harmful to people or is, again, violating the community guidelines, then you also have this audience of people who are reporting those, and they're trying to help. They're trying to keep the community as a safe place. So I encourage having something like that. I encourage people to do those things and report when you are seeing posts that are violating the guidelines. And then to all the community professionals out there, please go and thank those people who reported. That's a step that's often overlooked, but please go and thank them because they've just taken an extra step to try to keep the community safe. So I think if you have some of those things in place, you're doing a good job of showing gratitude, but also, having effective moderation as well.
Thanks so much. Okay, I have another question from my teammate, actually, Amanda. She's saying, what are some of the fun initiative ideas that early stage community can run? Some of our Bettermore customers are starting their community journey, and how else can we show our members love besides gamification, badging and earning swag? What other fun initiatives can be done?
Well, I love surprise and delight, and I love a good brainstorm on surprise and delight. That's always so fun. So, Preetish, if you want to organize another one to be like a brainstorm about all the different ways you can surprise and delight, that'd be a conversation I'd love to be in on. And even at the beginning of this webinar, we were talking about, maybe Better Mode starts the trend of awarding the first person who signs in for the webinar once it goes live or something that I don't there's lots of different things you could do. We definitely don't have time to brainstorm them all, but I think that if you're just starting out, some of those surprise and delight aspects will be really neat to people and reminding them, hey, the community's out there. It's and we've got this going now. And then trying to do something on a regular basis. So like I said, Max decided to do some coffee gift cards, but maybe you're doing something on a regular basis that's constantly changing. Maybe your surprise and delight is always going to be different. It's not always going to be coffee gift cards. Again, you just got to figure out what you have the capacity to do, if there's budget, not budget, and then what your members will like the best. And that's what the celebration survey helps with that.
And something I have personally experienced on surprise and delight is that I'm part of, I visit Reddit quite frequently. Sometimes I post there, and they have this secret subreddit um, which has all the members who have posted something and that has reached, I believe, 10,000 upvotes or something like that. But it's not known to anyone. So once you reach that, you'll be automatically added to that subreddit, and it has all those members who have posted 10,000 or more than 10,000 upvotes. So which is also a nice way to surprise members.
Yes, I love that. Great example. I'd love to hear too if any of our attendees in the last few minutes here know of a great surprise and delight. Maybe it's one you're doing in your community. Maybe you've been on the receiving end of one. Those are always fun. I've gotten some awesome swag kits as a surprise and delight from different companies. And and I say awesome because at the time, like the swag I received was useful. But I've also gotten some swag kits as a surprise and delight where I was like, really? This is what you sent? I'm not going to name those brands. I see we got another question. Mind if I read it out?
Sure.
Sylvia?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Like Sylvia again with the solid questions. She says, sometimes leaving the community is part of life's journey. Absolutely, Sylvia. How do you part ways and say goodbye in a way that values them, lets them know the door's open if their journey takes them back in the community in the future? Oh my goodness. Yeah, Sylvia. So there could be a number of reasons people have to leave a community. And oh, I don't know if I pressed the right thing to answer. And you never know. Like in B2B communities, it's most common, not to say it's the only reason, but it's most common that people are leaving because they switch jobs, and their login and everything might have been tied to the job that they were in. Even the reason for being in that community might have been tied for the job, and they don't have a reason to be in there anymore. For communities of practice, it's a little harder because, communities of practice, people could just, life, people are busy and things are coming up and things are happening. And so it's hard to know. And the thing is that your members don't ever have to tell you. That's a matter of privacy, why they want to leave. If they want to share it with you, that is great because it's wonderful to have that feedback, but know that they don't have to. So if it is something that is scalable for you and is an option, I do think sending some kind of personal email to them when you've seen that they have decided to leave and letting them know that you value their decision and wherever life might be taking them right now, and that they're always welcome back. And if they need help setting up a different account or anything like that, let them know how they can reach you or provide some guidelines on that. But again, just never assume that you know why, and let them know that that you support them for whatever their reason. But that's a great question to ask, Sylvia. I don't hear that asked a lot about, kind of like best practices when people are leaving communities. So nice one.
So you have another question. What's the best way to shut down, close a community? Yeah.
The best way to close a community? Ooh. Sophia, we need another hour for this. Let's see. There's a number of different ways. I mean, I remember getting an email this summer from REI stating that they were closing their online community. And I appreciated the heads up because some communities close and don't give you that. But what I would have loved to see in the email, besides like the message they were sending, was a very heartfelt, genuine message. Appreciate that. But I also would have appreciated some links to here's how you can download your data. Here's how you can get your information. Because what if I wanted to keep or re-reference anything I posted, and the community should be set up these days for people to go and download their stuff. So if you are going to be shutting down a community, I do believe a genuine, heartfelt message is something that would be greatly appreciated by members. Letting people know how they can take their data, their information with them. And then if you're shutting down the community and it's a brand, I also want to know, well, how else should I interact with this brand? So give a call to action on maybe REI could have said you can follow us here at these social channels, or here's the best way to interact with us. And maybe that's going through their customer service channel. But, don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me thinking wait, how do I interact now? You're giving me some ideas for another Substack article. I might write something up on that. So thank you, Sophia. And I'm just now catching Sophia's comment where she did reference she's building a small business community. So if it's of a manageable size right now, then maybe that is something you have the time to do. But I also understand that there are community professionals out there, thousands and thousands of members, and it's probably really hard to find the time to send off these, personal messages and invite people back. So I get it. I understand. Bandwidth, it's an issue.
Okay, so I have one more question. I believe that's the last one, which is how can we measure the success of the efforts that a community puts into showing the love to members? So what's I believe it's more about how can it be traced back into a business goal or a community goal.
Yeah. I like measuring satisfaction levels. And I think that all of the efforts we talked about today and all the tactics you can do to show love, they contribute to overall satisfaction. So maybe you're measuring that through NPS or CSAT or in some other way. But I definitely think that all the tactics today can go towards measuring satisfaction levels. And there's probably, again, we need another hour. We need another hour to talk about measurement. But yes, if you're not figuring out how to eventually pull the results of this into your overall goals and what you're reporting on the community, it's probably not going to seem important to people that you're doing surprise and delight or doing that. But another thing you can do, and it's not so much measurement, but it's qualitative measurement, is capturing testimonials. I remember Max Pete telling me after he did the coffee surprise and delight, how these testimonials were coming in for people who were so touched by the thought of just getting this random gift. And they were talking about how much they love the community. And Max said, hey, can I use this in a quote for the, for some marketing materials for the community? And that was a brilliant way to use that information, take that information and use it for something, for the business and for promoting the community. So there are, quantitative measurements. Yes, you can make, and some of the community platforms have ways that you can measure the gamification efforts. And then there are, qualitative ways like collecting testimonials. And I'm sure there are many more, but my brain is fried now. I'm off to have chocolate.
Well, we just have 3 minutes, and I don't see any other question here. So I believe that's a wrap. But I'm just gonna share my screen here and just let people know about our next webinar, and that should be it. So we have the next webinar on March 14th, which is about strategies to revitalize community engagement. So if your community engagement dying down, how can you revitalize that? So Crystal will be joining us, and that's it. Happy Valentine's Day again. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Pritish, for having me. I love this. This is so good.